local economy continues to shed jobs, yet another symptom that is taking strain. Stats SA informal sector jobs data shows the number of people employed fell in the second quarter, with total employment decreasing by 80,000 or 0.8%. The bulk of the job losses were concentrated in several major industries, signaling broad economic headwinds. Major decreases in employment were in the community services, trade, manufacturing, construction, transport and business services. There was, however, some positivity in the mining and electricity sectors. The picture is also negative when comparing June this year and the same time last year. Total employment decreased by 229,000 or 2.1%. Both full-time and part-time employment went down the second quarter. Gross earnings, however, increased in the second quarter. Bonuses paid to employees as well as overtime paid decreased in the second quarter. All right, joining us for reaction to these stats is Elize Kruger, independent economist. Good afternoon, Elize. Thank you very much for joining us on Point. So, unfortunately, total employment decreased by 80,000 or 0.8% quarter on quarter. Your reaction to this?
Yes, Mfundo, really disappointing employment stats today for quarter two. And although it's a really bad quarter, it's also been building because in quarter one, we also lost 64,000. So for the first half of 2025, we are now talking about 144,000 less jobs in the economy. And that's really a dire scenario, especially with our unemployment rate already at 33%. That's a really signal hard times for the South African economy.
And these decreases are mainly attributed to, among others, community services and manufacturing. And when we talk manufacturing, it seems to be an industry that is quite under severe strain, because every time we're getting statistics, it seems manufacturing is being hit. Your take on that?
Absolutely. Actually, today's numbers showed broad-based weakness in employment. 6 of the 8 economic sectors reported job losses in the second quarter. Yes, manufacturing has been a laggard in the South African economy actually ever since COVID year. We haven't in manufacturing seen a recovery in production levels to pre-COVID levels as we speak. So they have been lagging for some years, I want to say. So job, losses in that regard, definitely a reflection of what's happening in the sector. On the community side, that's a bit of a broader sector, including lots of different subcomponents. And I'm not quite sure where all those job losses, happened, but it's including, government sectors, including health services, education services. It's quite a broad sector. And that one has been particularly under pressure, especially compared to a year ago. In that specific subsector, we've lost about 230,000 jobs, which is quite a scenario.
And then transport, it's contributed 0.4% to the losses. Where exactly are we seeing the issues when it comes to transport?
So transport, I think, is almost like manufacturing being a sector that has been under pressure for quite some time. So as you know, we've got rail and road, and we're trying to get rail freight going relative to road, but we have actually seen a notable drop in our road freight sector of the economy. And, there we're talking about drivers, of big trucks and so on that I think could have been impacted by the fact that the sector as a whole is quite under pressure. Again, all of these are linked into the economy. Now, we've got economic growth less than 1% in the first half of this year. And that is what we are seeing now in terms of the sectoral performances. Sectors where we had negative growth rates in contractionary territory are shedding jobs now. And really a reflection as well of just a general difficult business environment.
Now, with transport, granted, there's been a lot of pressure, but there's also been renewed focus on the part of government to ensure that they alleviate that pressure through perhaps Operation Vulindlela. Constantly we hear of the progress being made there insofar as assisting perhaps mines to ensure that their goods are getting to the ports. So is that renewed effort not showing dividends as yet? Is it too soon for us to see any progress?
Mfundo, indeed. We do see a lot of focus at the moment on the rail network side, network industries. But, it's almost as if the policy is now put in place. We're now inviting the private sector to become part of the solution. But these things do take time. As we have seen on the electricity generation space, it takes a good, 2 to 3 years before you do see the real impact on ground level. So at this point in time, it's good building blocks, being put in place for growth as we go along. But we are not seeing that yet in economic growth numbers, or for that matter, in employment statistics.
All right, Elize, thank you very much for your insights this afternoon.